Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain Logan. Tonight, it's Batman night. We're going to be doing Batman for the next hour, talking about anything and everything related to the Dark Knight. And joining me, as always, is my illustrious producer and chat moderator, Danny Nixon.
It is I, the boy wonder.
I'm not calling you Bat Danny, but that's good. What, like, yeah. I'm trying to think of a way to put Robin and Danny together, and that's not going great. Or like, I don't know, like, how do we get Nightwing in there? I can't do anything with your. Yeah. You can do stuff with the real name, but not so much with the mantles. We'll have to come up with a good Danny sidekick name. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for being here. Good to see you. I see lots of folks in the comments already, and I want to apologize for starting a little bit late tonight, but here we are. And I see Blue Dragon 5 says Danny Grayson.
I like Mutale's comment. Is Danny Dick Grayson or Jason Todd? Definitely Dick Grayson. I don't want to end up crowbarred to death.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be good. If this were a Star Trek show, I'd make fun of you for wearing a red shirt. Just a straight red shirt. Everything about Danny today just says "kill me." It's unfortunate. He's being compared to Jason Todd. He's wearing a red shirt.
I'm so glad you don't have a crowbar sitting behind you.
Danny is like, you wouldn't, yeah, because that's a thing that you would just have, you know. Danny's like, you wouldn't hit a dam with glasses, would you? See lots of folks in the comments. Thanks for being here. Noah O, Mutale's here. Blue Dragon 5, David Crabtree, Anime 2019 just says hi. Hi. Back Studios is here. How you doing? Justin, who else do I see here? Pandora. Malik is here. William Parcell is here. Good to see everybody. Hi there. So yeah, lots of Batman tonight. That is what we are doing. And why don't we just, Danny, straight away jump right into it. Begin with a pre-written question, and then if anybody wants to throw in any super chats, we will make sure and get to those sometime during the program. But we want to make sure, of course, and get to as much of the pre-written stuff as well. If you have something that you're just burning to get us to talk about, again, all related to Batman tonight. We're not going to do anything else besides that. So if you see questions that aren't Batman, we're probably not going to chat about this tonight. Christian, or I shouldn't say probably, we're not going to talk about this tonight. Christian Ogden says first time watcher. Hi there. Thanks so much for being here on the live show. And but yeah, so what I was going to say is if you have a question you want to make absolutely certain that we get to, you can put it in as a super chat with a small donation, and that will guarantee that will happen. But if you do pre-written, we're going to try to get to as many of those as humanly possible. Danny, I have a crazy plan for an upcoming show. I want to tell you about this real quick while I'm thinking about it.
An upcoming Captain Logan show?
An upcoming Captain Logan show, yeah. I'm not going to do it tonight for the Batman show because we might get some questions that we want to dive into and spend a little bit of time on. I want to do one of these nights, maybe next time, maybe a little bit later on so that we don't have two theme shows in a row. I want to do, and everybody be thinking of like the perfect question for this if you want to show up for this show. Danny, I want to do a 50-question challenge. I want to see if we can knock out 50 in an hour.
Let's go for 52.
50. Oh, that's even better. Right, yeah. The new 52 Captain Logan show.
Yes.
You know, years after anybody cares about that anymore.
Yeah, which is perfect because that seems to be what DC's animated movies are still doing.
But yeah, 52 questions I think could be really fun. So anyway, I want to do that down the line. And if we weren't doing Batman tonight, I would have done that tonight because I'm really itching to try that. Because like I'm so bad at having any kind of brevity, and I want to force myself to do it. And then you know what'll happen? Invariably, we will get comments later where people are like, wow, I really wish Cap had spent a little bit of time on my question.
Yeah. So what's the meaning of life? Good question. Next.
It's a good question. I'm going to go with, well, I know the answer to the question. That's 42. The actual question, I don't know. Move on.
All right.
Let's get into Batman questions, Danny. Go right ahead. Jump all the way. We've already got, like, what you said before we even started, you had 2 full pages written down.
2 full pages, yes. And now we're at 3.5.
Oh, my goodness.
3 3/4.
Can we get through all of them? No, we can't, but we're going to try. Go right ahead, Danny.
All right. Speaking of brevity, our first question, because our answers will certainly be brief for this one.
Oh, good.
What I was being sarcastic.
Never say never. Yeah.
What do you think the biggest misconception about Batman is that non-comic reading? Let me rephrase this and actually read his question the way he wrote it. My bad,
Absolutely.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Jeffrey E. Patron says, "What do you think is the biggest misconception about Batman that the non-comic reading general population makes?"
Wow. Yeah. Not necessarily a thing that's easy to be brief on. Man, this is an easier question with Superman, isn't it?
I think so, but here lately, I think this one's not as hard to answer because I've seen a couple people who make the same misconceptions.
Okay, well, we'll find out what you think is the big misconception. The first thing that comes to my mind is the idea that Batman is always a crazy person.
Yeah.
Batman is a psychopath, and the notion that if you were to put on a costume and go out and fight crime, that automatically means that you must be a nutcase or a crazy person.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that anybody should go out and do that in real life, but just right away, I mean, and like that is clearly a person who is taking major risks and stuff. But I don't know that necessarily means that you are like mentally ill or something. Now I go back and forth on this, Danny. I'm of two minds about this. I like a Batman that like is afraid that he is so much like his villains or has like, because essentially Batman has a supervillain backstory. I mean, like a lot of superheroes have a similar kind of backstory, and so I guess you can go either direction. But I mean, like a lot of characters, their parents will get murdered or something bad will happen to them, and then that sends them off the deep end. And the question, of course, is that what is happening with Batman? But like, I like the idea that Batman is refuses to use guns and put certain limitations on himself because he's afraid that he could go that way if he didn't do that. But Danny, for me, like my Batman is more of an optimistic idea where I don't know that that's actually true. He's just afraid that it is. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Batman is inherently a psychopath.
No, I'm with you. I have that same feeling. Like at the heart of my Batman, at the heart of Batman is an optimist that has kind of a cynical outlook on how he has to go about creating the change he wants to see. Like he's optimistic that it could, or he's optimistic that the war on crime will work and that it's possible to see the good in everybody, which is, I think, part of the no-kill policy.
He is an idealist, yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't want to be like the people that he tries to take to justice. So if he starts killing people, but it's not just like the grander idea of, oh no, does that mean I am like them? He's afraid that he'll go that way. That like as soon as he gets a taste for killing.
That's I don't know. Like in my head, I've never thought that maybe my interpretation of Batman, even if he did kill, would go super psychotic.
I don't think so either. But my Batman is afraid that he would.
Oh yeah, no, certainly.
You see what I'm saying? That's like it's an insecurity. It's a hang up. Batman doesn't. My Batman doesn't. And when I say Batman, I guess I mean in my mind, like the quintessential version of the character, because there's so many different ways to write this character. But like my quintessential version of Batman, is a good person and is afraid that he is not.
Yeah, that's exactly mine.
That's the Batman I like. The other big misconception for me, and sometimes he's written this way, but I don't care for it, is that Batman is a Tony Stark level super genius.
Yeah, I don't like that one either. I like when he's a detective, but not like master of all like trades, like master chemist, master detective, master, all these different things. I really like that he is like an intellectual and like his thoughtful, but he doesn't need to be like near superhuman level of intellect. And
if you start from the beginning, you can have a Batman that becomes a jack of all trades and gets better at things. So like he's competent at a lot of different things. I don't mind a Batman that is an auto mechanic. I don't want a Batman that can build a spaceship.
Yeah, I'm
You
not.
know, and I don't like it when Alfred can do everything either, because that's just too easy. That's just preposterous. I like it when we have like somebody else that fixes Batman's car, like we do in the animated series. I love that stuff.
Who's the Hunchback from the comics? Who was the mechanic?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. I can't remember his name right now. It's not. Is it Harold?
That sounds right.
I think it's Harold. Yeah, and there have been some different things done with him. But yeah, like. I read, what was it? I was reading something the other day. I think, you know what? I think it was the Ninja Turtles, the second Ninja Turtles Batman crossover, where, nothing against Tinian. I'm sure he's a nice guy and all. I don't love Tinian's voice for Batman. I've never cared for him on that character. And I think it's hilarious that every time he writes Bane, he just writes Rises Bane. And you can hear Tom Hardy's voice in his Bane. So that's fun. And Bane is the villain of that story. So that was very entertaining for me. However, Tinian has that super genius Batman where he is comparing Batman and Donatello's like engineering prowess. No. I don't like that.
No, I'm with you. Like, compare him to Leonardo for like to do the obvious like leader comparison, or yes. Raphael for like the if you want to go for a more like physical Batman. But I'm with you. I'm not a fan
absolutely. He should be more like Leonardo than he is anybody.
Yeah. I mean, especially when he's got running around.
Did you have another like misconception?
Yeah. So my big one is when everyone it's kind of gotten to the point where it's a meme now, but where everyone's like, he's just a rich guy who goes around beating up mentally ill criminals or mentally ill people.
Yes, you've brought this up before.
I do not.
Or like Eric's brought this up before. I think we talked about that. What was it? An After Dark, or I can't remember.
You and Eric talking about it. Maybe you and I have talked about it off camera, but
well, that's what I mean. Eric brought it up recently. I can't remember if it was on After Dark or some other video, but anyway, yeah.
It irks me, man. Like since what, the 70s, he's been like the philanthropist going around like using Bruce Wayne's money to help and then go out and fight as Batman.
Eric had a really good explanation about why Batman, the idea that he just beats up poor people is stupid, because if you look at the majority of Batman's rogues gallery, they're not all just a bunch of homeless people. Like,
no,
if they end up, like a lot of them, start even as more high society people and then eventually end up running gangs and stuff, but very few of them are just like, sad poor people that need some kind of help and need mental help and stuff, and Batman just beats them up and then throws them in an institution that's not helpful. Like, you can argue Batman should stop throwing villains in Arkham Asylum because it's not conducive to anybody's mental health, and that Batman's not actually interested in anybody being rehabilitated. But I blame that on the popularity of Arkham as a place before I blame it on the character. Yeah. Like, I am seeing a ridiculous amount of super chats, so we have got to move on from this topic. But what a great topic! And thanks a bunch for asking it.
All right, I will jump right into our super chats, and our first one of the day from Random Reviewer. What are your thoughts on Ben Affleck no longer being our Batman, and the new details regarding Matt Reeves' Batman film?
Okay, so I talked about this some on. Where was it? I guess the last Captain Logan show this came up some. Did it not?
It was a little bit there, and I think y'all talked about it on the Omnibus.
Maybe we did talk about it some of the Omnibus, but I'll give my thoughts again real briefly. So everything we're hearing about the Matt Reeves, that's right, because somebody last time asked what I want to see in a big screen Batman movie, and I'm saying so far from what I'm hearing from Matt Reeves, from the Matt Reeves project, he's making the movie I want. So like, I'm excited about the smaller scale, the Detective Batman. It sounds like it's going to be more of a stylized thing. He's throwing around the term rogues gallery like that means like that's supposed to excite people just because he's saying rogues gallery. I think that's weird. We don't know what villains he's using yet, but I guess he's going to have more than one.
That makes me worried.
I read an article that was like, "Yay, rogues gallery," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" Like, I don't know how many characters are in it. But
that does make me a little worried. We may get like a Hush or Long Halloween type of story where it's an excuse to use a bunch of
them.
I do too. I want like Cobblepot.
At least start with something more small scale than that.
I just want another like Batman going against the mob story. Like I want that. That's what I want, especially with the detective story.
and I'm okay with also having a costume villain in there or somebody that turns into one or whatever, but I just don't need it to be a huge giant cast. And I'm okay with that movie later on. I mean, like, I've always said I want to see like an Arkham Asylum, type movie, like a 2-hour movie where Batman's trapped in the asylum. Yes, all day long, give me that, and that could feel smaller scale enough, even if you started with it. You know what? I'm going to say this. That is the one thing that if he says Rogues Gallery and then it turns out that it's like 15 villains in the asylum, I can't argue with that. That I would be excited about.
Yeah, that's a little more palatable because it's a smaller setting to begin with, so it makes sense that you'd have so many in that one spot. And you already have a conceit for why they'd be there.
And you make it a descent through hell kind of movie.
Yeah, you basically make it maybe Dante's
Inferno. Yeah. That'd be awesome. So no, I would love that. So everything we're hearing so far, besides just, Rogues Gallery, I don't really know what that means, but like, it's vague. We don't know a lot yet.
It's gonna be all the Flash villains. That's what he means.
Yeah, that would be great. Batman versus the Rogues is now the title of the film. The Batman versus the Rogues. But anyway, so we heard recently that Warner Brothers is, so obviously, as alluded to in the question, we're getting rid of Affleck. I'm happy with that. It doesn't sound to me like a movie with an older Batman is what Matt Reeves wanted to make in the first place. It sounds like this would be earlier in his career, whether it was set in the DCEU continuity or not. At this point, that will not matter anymore. So you could make the argument, well, Cap, if it doesn't matter if it's set in that continuity, why not still use Affleck if you wanted to be there? It's a moot point now because he's leaving. But I mean, like, I still would have been, because obviously we're going to have other actors that are continuing to play the parts that they played in DCEU, even though DCEU isn't a thing anymore. And so you can't say necessarily, well, you have to get away from Affleck because we're not doing that continuity anymore. The thing is, BVS is still the biggest, most notorious, and then after that, Justice League, but like, the big notorious thing that hurt their, DC and Warner Brothers' reputation with these characters and with the DCEU at large. So like I said last week, if I'm Warner Brothers, I'm not going to use that Batman or Superman ever again. Regardless of whether or not I think that both of those guys were good for those roles, I just don't think it's smart business at this point. So yeah, it sucks, absolutely, but I think it's the smart way to go. And I think we've got to cleanse our palate of it. Like, even if we had kept Affleck around, I still would have said this movie, do a younger Batman, and then get the, get people back on board again with big screen Batman, have them not be, afraid of it after BVS. And then, once you've got the consumer confidence again, then maybe you could bring him back if you wanted to do it. So I'm not saying that if he was willing to keep doing it, leave him out forever. This movie, this is the place to not have him.
Yeah, I'm with you. This, just make it a clean slate. Just move forward with something fresh. Like, there's been so much like change as to what this movie was originally going to be. Like, I don't see any need to like keep any remnants of DCEU to it. Just go as far away from that as you can to distinguish it as its own thing, and kind of make it a palate cleanser.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts right now. Solar Dragon 07 says, a clean slate! One more super chat, and then what was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just about to read the next super chat.
One more super chat, and then let's jump back to our 3.5 pages of pre-written questions.
Bag Studios asks, which is the better trilogy? Returns, Forever, and Batman and Robin, or Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League?
Okay, so he's comparing those two and not Nolan, just those two.
Yeah. So Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and then Batman and Robin as a trilogy.
Okay.
Versus Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League as a trilogy.
That's such a weird question in my head, man. Because for me, Batman Forever isn't really part of a trilogy. Like, it's more like it's like two franchises that are kind of talking to each other. Like, for me, Batman Forever, it was almost a like soft reboot. So like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are like a thing. But yeah, I don't even know if I can compare those things. I think because Batman Forever is solid, I guess I have to say that. but it's weird. It's weird.
I'm going to go with the Man of Steel, like the DCEU trilogy. Like, BVS and Justice League aren't good movies, but at least it's a trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. Strictly speaking, okay. No, you're right. The definitive answer to this question is the same. And I know I talk about, I bring this up a lot, but it's the same answer as is Turbo a Power Rangers movie a good movie? No, because it's not a movie, but it says it's a movie. It doesn't count. You know what I mean? So if the first thing is not a trilogy, then by definition, the second thing is a better trilogy. Oh, what a very strange question. All right. Give me a pre-written question, sir.
All right. Blue Dragon 5 asks, do you think Alfred makes the bat cookies, or are they store-bought?
No, he's got to make those, I would think.
Yeah, those and cucumber sandwiches.
I also think it's possible he has a side business where he's boxing them and selling them at like local like supermarkets and stuff.
See, I like to think in a world where Batman Incorporated doesn't exist, Alfred has all the trademarks to everything Batman, and while Batman's out fighting crime, he's the one boxing up all like the Batman shirts and shipping them off, and he's collecting his royalty checks every time somebody sells a Batman shirt.
I want to write that story. That's really funny. And his company is called Batman Incorporated. Like, that's the name of it. And he's got like bakeries and that Batman themed restaurant, which I feel like would almost not even be legal, that they have in Tom King's run.
The one with the Jokerized fries.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. That is in such poor taste. I do not buy that like that would be allowed. I feel like the local government would shut you down, if nothing else. I have a really hard, and in Gotham City, like maybe some podunk town 12,000 miles away.
See, that works better in like Metropolis, where you've got like Brainiac shakes or something like that, where it's like, or maybe not Parasite fries, but your Superman villains.
You don't want to eat that. No. But okay, think about the real world though. Think about this is gonna sound dark and like a horrible thing to say, but that's my point. Okay, like nobody's gonna order a Jeffrey Dahmer milkshake. Okay?
No, nobody's gonna go to a Columbine themed either.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And like that is, and I love Tom King, and those are funny scenes anytime we use that. But like that is our world encroaching too much on the fictional world. Like we're so used to like, and like the Batman themed thing. If it's just Batman, maybe. But as soon as you start putting the villains in there as if they're fictional characters, you're forgetting that people have been like hurt by these people.
Yeah, there would be mass protests outside from everyone who is related to a victim of like the Joker or Riddler.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't happen.
Now, it'd be great if it was owned by like the Condiment King.
That's really funny. Yeah, you could. Well, and remember, they did a. Sorry, I'm just thinking of suddenly other like real life serial killers are coming to mind. Just like Bundy fries. Like, no one's gonna buy these things. It'd be horrible. Stop laughing, because it's horrible. No, Batman the Animated Series did an episode about this. The episode with the Joker themed casino.
I'm completely drawing a blank on this one.
Oh, there's this episode where there was supposed to be this like playing card themed casino, and this guy who owned this place changed it all to be Joker themed, and the Joker comes in and he's upset because his likeness is being used without his approval. It's one of my favorite episodes.
This is the new Batman Adventures, right? With
the Joker, huh?
No,
it's like a third season episode, I think.
Oh wow, I need to watch that one because
it's really good.
Oh, yeah, Joker's Wild.
Yeah, that's the name.
Okay,
of it.
Yeah. Now I'm.
It's great. My brain a bit. It's about this where it's like this guy is like preying on the popularity, but the infamous popularity of this character, and it's in really poor taste. And of course, the Joker's upset about it for different reasons than other people are.
You know what would be better than, I'm going back to the Tom King thing. The only thing that would have been better than Jokerized fries, Joker fish and chips.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. I like that. Now, in real life, you can do that because the Joker's not real, and so you can have all kinds of fun with that stuff. I would love to have, or at least see, a Batman themed restaurant. I think it'd be great, and then you could do the Joker ice fries and all that.
It'd be so awesome, especially like a Six Flags. Stick it in that like DC area, at least the one here in Texas, where they've got their entire like DC themed rides. Just change out the Johnny Rockets over there for a Batman restaurant.
Yeah, they do that with Star Wars at Disneyland. There's a Star Wars themed like burger stand, like walkout place, and or at least it was there when I was there a couple years ago. And the first combo that you can order is called a first order.
That's awesome.
It's pretty great. Okay, let's move on.
All right, I will jump back
into one episode. Wow. Okay.
Huh.
That means I've done a commentary on it, and I don't even remember doing that.
Interesting. I'm completely drawing a blank on that one. That one's just not like the actual details of the episode just aren't coming to mind.
Yeah, I was surprised that you didn't look like you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, apparently it's later than I thought.
Jeffrey says Professor Pig's home-style barbecue.
That's good. That's real good.
That's really good.
Our next super chat from Bag Studios again. He says, "Will the Batman 66 show?" Try saying that 5 times fast.
Yeah, I know.
Retain its legacy or be forgotten?
That's a great question. I don't think 66 is ever totally forgotten. I mean, if it were, it would take a number of generations just because it's the thing that most popularized Batman in the first place. Like, Batman's a household name because of that show.
Yeah.
So like, I can argue that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The no Batman will never go away.
It will it will never go away.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my God, that's awesome.
This has become one of my favorite shirts. By the way, one of our patrons sent me this in the mail, and I don't know who it was. So if you're watching right now, let us know. And I'm trying to remember if I actually talked to the person that sent me this. No, I think I did. But I can't right off remember who it was. I apologize. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I can make the argument that like lately it's kind of come back into popularity again. But that doesn't mean that like eons from now it will stick around. But I don't think the I don't know, like even if people don't go back and watch that show, I think it's a number of decades before people just don't remember Adam West anymore.
Yeah. And I think anytime we go to parody Batman to do like a more campy, more like silly, less brooding parody of Batman, it's always going to be aping something from 66, something with West.
Yeah. You'd have to get to a place where only grim and gritty was allowed again, where like here's the thing. We tried to wipe it off the map. We tried to forget about it. Like the special editions in Star Wars tried to forget about the theatrical versions of Star Wars. Like in the early 90s and especially into the mid 90s, like I feel like DC Comics did everything it could to scrape away 60s Batman. I really do. Until we got to Batman and Robin. And really, I mean, I say mid 90s, really like the Batman Returns era was the apex of it. That couple of years right in there where you had, relatively serious Batman with Batman animated series, and the comics were breaking Batman's back, and like when you listen to some of the people that were at DC right then, it seemed like 66 Batman was the bane of their existence, and they wanted to scrape that away as much as humanly possible. We are in a place right now where, as I say all the time, Batman can be done any way you want to do it, and as long as that's the case, as long as you have a spectrum, we will always compare the more comedic stuff to Adam West Batman. And I would like to think that now that it's more viewable, and by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you go and try to buy Batman 66, especially by season right now, it's gotten dirt cheap.
Really?
So those DVDs are very, very buyable right now. We're talking $15-20 a season.
Oh, that's nice.
Pretty easy to get now. So if you don't have it and you've waited, now's the time, because they are not, especially if you buy them on DVD instead of Blu-ray. So it's very accessible now, and I'd like to think that as people go back to that show and look at it with new eyes, it's going to be looked at later on more as the great satire that I think it is.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be actually more respected than it even is right now.
Yeah. If it's possible for something that was well received and took over like the mainstream as much as that did to become a cult classic, I think that would be one of the things that would become a cult classic, even though it was a classic in its own right. But I think there will be a lot of people who go back to it who, like me, who were, never
And you make
around
the
for
case
it
that it is
originally.
now, but I would argue that you're right, and that down the road it could be a cult classic to even another generation. I could see kids finding it whose parents didn't grow up with it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what is this crazy thing? But anyway, great question.
All right. I guess sticking with super chats real quick.
Yeah, let's do that.
Super Nerd says 2 questions. Actually, 3 questions. First question is, would you open or would you
Economical super chats for the win?
Yeah. Would you be open to a live action Batman Beyond film?
I would. I have said in the past that I don't know why that idea is so popular with people. The more I talk to people about it, the more I'm starting to get turned around on the idea of it. I think the technology is there now. I think in the late 90s, when we talked about making one, when we almost made one, that was not the time to make it. I think it would be cool to do a Batman Beyond movie that was so futuristic that a lot of the backdrops actually have to be CG, but it's really well integrated. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think a 68% animated Batman Beyond movie is a really good idea, potentially. Do what Green Lantern tried to do, but go well.
Yeah.
I think that could be great for Batman Beyond. Having said that, after Spider-Verse, animation feels like more the way to do it to me.
Well, there was the rumor that apparently got shut down that they were working on a animated Batman Beyond film because of the success of Spider-Verse.
I never bought that.
I didn't either, but that's what I'd want. I want, like, the look of that show is so great because it's so stylized in that DCAU art style.
Yeah.
I want more of that. Like, yeah. I love just that it's a simple black suit with, like, no blue highlights. It's just pure black, except, it's got the gray highlights, but not like how we normally do highlights. I just love the look of.
And it has been suggested that it would be really cool to see Michael Keaton come back and do an elderly Bruce Wayne. And when I first heard that, I think I said it here on camera. I said, "Oh, he's too young." Did you know he's 67 years old? Because I did not know that.
He doesn't look it.
He doesn't look it.
He doesn't look a day over 66.
So I still stand by that, but I still stand by that to some degree. Where like. He's aged so well, but Eric argued with me and said, yeah, but like you could make him look older and he could play old really well. Yeah, he could, but I still would want to wait like 10 years until he actually looks really old.
If they're going to do it, I said, just go ahead and do it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait 10 years and possibly,
Nah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right. I still wish something like that could have been done with Adam West though.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
I really do. And if he were alive right now, I would say do it now and do it with Adam West.
Yeah.
Okay, what's his other 2 questions?
Have you read Batman New Gotham by Greg Rucka? And his second question is, so you plan to review more pre-crisis Batman comics?
You mean third, right?
Third.
Because I answered a question, and then you gave me a question, then you said a second question, but that's actually his third question.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But that's not important. Anyway, okay, so New Gotham I've never read. So thanks for reminding me about that. I've never read that, and then so I can't speak to that. And then the third question, of course I'd like to read more pre-crisis Batman stuff. I have actually ordered the trade, Danny, of the Helena Wayne stories, which I'm very excited to read.
Is that Earth 1?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's Earth 2, but
okay, Earth 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she shows up in Crisis, and I've always liked her design, and I've always liked that idea, and I was a big Birds of Prey fan, and that show, that Huntress is based on that Huntress. So like I've always thought of myself as a Huntress fan, but I think I'm a fan of a character I've never read before. I'm a fan of actually Helena Bertinelli, because I read Helena Bertinelli, my eyes glaze over a little bit. We're like, I like her in theory, but she's basically just female Punisher, right? Like there's not a lot of Arrow here. What's that?
I know nothing of her other than Arrow, but I love the last name.
But like all the way down to like, giving her a religious thing. Like she's kind of just You know, she's kind of like she's a Catholic. She's kind of just a female Punisher. But anyway, I'm excited to read that because I didn't know that was collected anywhere, and I'm able to get the trade, and then eventually I'll try to get at least her first appearance, if not the rest of her stuff in singles. But I'm gonna review that as soon as I get my hands on it. I ordered it a couple weeks ago, and it hasn't come in the mail yet, so I'm a little bummed about that. But that is my immediate plan for pre-Crisis Batman stuff, and then I am working on amassing my Batman collection at large. So as I get more stuff,
yeah, I just added the Cape Crusader and the Dark Knight Detectives comics that Eric was talking about on new acquisitions.
Oh, cool!
I had no idea those existed, and that's the type of Batman I want to read. Like, I want to read more of that, like 70s, 80s, 90s Batman.
Awesome. Yeah, and we reviewed some Englehart, which is before that. So, like, Laughing Fish and all that stuff.
All right. I'll jump up to a pre-written question real quick.
Let's do that.
William Parcell says, do you ever find it odd that other heroes just accept Batman recruiting children into his war on crime?
Yes. Why does nobody ever say anything about that?
Superman especially should be the one to say, yeah, cool, bro.
Yeah. Like, I can see Superman maybe being okay with a, teenager, like, young adult getting involved in crime fighting if they're doing it his way. But not Batman's way.
No.
No, that should look like it's tantamount to child abuse to those people. No, the conscripting children into your war on crime is the most unrealistic thing Batman does.
Yeah.
Or it's one of them.
Especially when we like really push the age thing of like they're 9 or 10. Like a 14, 15, fine, maybe. But when we get into like the like golden age Robin where he looks like a 9 or 10-year-old.
Well, Tim Drake was always younger.
Yeah.
Tim Drake's like 13. Yeah. And then like animated series Tim Drake, the season 4 stuff, he looks like he's 11, maybe.
Which is weird because he's got like they put an actor with a voice actor with a really deep voice for that design. Like that guy's
hi, how you doing? He's like,
it's just so weird.
And then, like at least Damian was raised by, the League of Assassins. So like he's a kid, but he wasn't raised like a kid. So like there's something there to justify it a little bit, when you're raised by terrorists. But yeah.
Anyways, don't recruit children for your war on crime, people. That's our lesson.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it, kids. I mean, it's never as bad as it is in All-Star, but
say no to All-Star.
Just say no. All right, moving right along.
All right, Thomas Edchill with our next super chat says, "What Batman characters are your friends and family most like?"
Oh, that's hard. Yeah, I don't know. This is a thing that is fascinating to people, and specifically with Batman. Like comparing people to Batman characters. Is it because of archetypes and stuff? I guess that's why we do that.
I think so. I think it's one of those things where we like to, on some level, we all like to put people in boxes or categorized into some form, and this is just like an extension of that, I guess.
Yeah. Boy, that's not immediately. Danny, why don't you throw something out, and then I'm gonna think for a minute.
My friend Bruce is like Batman. My friend Tim is like Robin. No.
Brilliant.
I can't think of anything else. Like, I'm kind of glad I don't have a friend who reminds me of Batman because I'd be kind of freaked out.
Yeah, I don't have, and that's what's funny is like there are a lot of characters in Batman that are kind of universal, but they're also extreme personalities.
Yeah.
Like my I'm trying to think if my wife is like anybody, but like most female characters in Batman are kind of crazy people. Or again, really extreme personalities. Like my wife loves Catwoman. She's not like Catwoman. She's not like deceptive. And,
she's not sneaking out at night and stealing stuff. going full cat burger.
You know, like your really loyal friends in family would be Alfred type people or Gordon type people. And
my dog is Ace.
yeah, like I don't know if Eric immediately reminds me of anybody in, you know, the Batman universe. And like when you think of just like specific stray like character traits that villains have, you don't want to bring up the villains because you know, then you're like, well, I don't know, Eric's like Two-Face. No, he's not. Don't say that. So yeah, I don't know. Nothing brilliant comes to mind.
Do you have a really punctual friend who reminds you of Clock King?
A really punctual friend? I wish I had punctual friends. Maybe not that punctual though. Maybe not anal retentive. And then it's like, oh, do you have any anal retentive friends? They're like Clock King or Two-Face with his coin, or yeah, you know what I mean? Like, if I do think of anything, I'm gonna sound like insulting people.
Yeah, if you ever went up to someone and was like, you remind me a lot of the Penguin, they'd be really offended by that.
I mean, a compliment, friend. Yeah, I don't have great answers for that. Go ahead and throw out another question.
All right, the second part of this question is, what would you like to see from the Batman franchise moving forward in film/comics/everything?
Wow. I gotta say, in comics, we're in really good shape right now. Like Tom King is writing a Batman that is more my Batman than anything I've seen in like 15 years. It's just wonderful. So I got no complaints there. I just want things to keep going the way they're going at the moment. As far as movies go, if Matt Reeves makes the movie it sounds like he's going to make, then that also sounds wonderful. Like, I think we're in pretty good shape for the future. I'd love to see another show about Batman and not just his other peripheral characters, right? We've got this really weird thing with TV right now where we're not making any Batman shows. And I realize Gotham's ending, and maybe down the road there's potential for a live-action Batman TV show, although usually we don't do that when we're doing them in film. And since we're going to keep making Batman movies, I don't know when or if we'll ever see that.
No, we can't even get like a cartoon.
And we can't get a cartoon. It's very, very strange. So we're going to do that animated Harley Quinn show, and we've got Batman showing up in like nightmare scenarios and Titans apparently, and we've got him showing up in Young Justice. But like, I don't know when we're going to actually see on television Batman get to do Batman things. It's weird.
Yeah.
I also think moving forward, there's the potential that other characters in Batman become more popular than Batman. Is that a nutso thing to say?
No, because Harley Quinn's kind of getting up there.
Yeah, and
like popularity goes.
And I think it's going to be a phase. I don't think that stays forever. Like, I don't know that Deadpool will always be more popular than the X-Men either, but that has happened.
Yeah.
And moving forward with DCEU, they seem to be a lot more DC movies. They seem to be a lot more fixated on characters in that universe than they are Batman himself. And then on television, we're doing Batwoman, and we're doing the same thing we did in Birds of Prey, where Batman has just left for some reason, and we may never see him again. I hope he actually gets cast in that show like we did with Superman, but I'm not holding my breath for it. So I'm just saying, like, I think down the road we just seem a lot more interested in other characters that aren't Batman, and I think some of that is the kind of diversity obsession. You know, well, there's a lot more characters in Batman that people might like to see that aren't just white guys. So let's do some of those other characters. And I don't have any problem with that at all. Like give some characters their own stuff. But Batman's still cool. I still want to see Batman things.
Use it to be the.
You've also real quick. You've also got people complaining that they can't relate to rich people. I think all of that combined has DC straying away a little bit from straight up Batman stuff. Am I wrong about that? I think that's happening.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the reason, but I think it's more just like they've heard so many complaints about you never do anything but Batman and Superman. They're trying to overcompensate, but like
they weren't concerned about that until BVS, dude.
Yeah.
And the overall hatred for that movie, combined with some political things, I think is part of why you're not seeing, as much stuff with Batman. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. In my perfect universe scenario, like instead of the CW Arrowverse, it was a Batman show. They got wildly successful and spun off to like a Nightwing show and a Tim Drake show and a Birds of Prey show. And
yes,
I want let Batman be the linchpin of your like multiple shows.
Your extended Batman universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I love the Batman universe, but I just want to, you know, go on record and say I still like Batman, like the guy.
Yeah, I agree.
It is very strange that we haven't had an animated series for as long as we haven't, right? Like, that's really weird.
Yeah. When was the last one? Like
2012? 2013?
I think so.
Yeah. Right around there.
Anyways, jumping into our next super chat because we've got like 11 left.
Yeah.
Zach Studio says, "What do you want to see? Would you want to see more DCAU, either TV or film?"
At this point, I'm leaning towards saying no. I don't know about you, Danny. I'm not sure if we should dip our toes back in those waters again.
They're doing it with Justice League versus the Fantastic Five or whatever that is.
Fearsome. Oh, is that DCAU?
The art style is.
Okay, but is it in that continuity?
I have no idea.
Because I think the point of this question is, do we want to go back and add to that universe again?
I don't if the person adding to it is Bruce Timm.
Same here.
Like, if you get Paul Dini on board, sure.
Yeah, you get Alan Burnett. Yeah, sure. Because, like, I've been watching the Green Lantern animated series lately, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I want more stuff with those sensibilities. I don't necessarily need it to continue in DCAU. I also think it's a little bit weird to go back to that continuity because, like, it was pretty smart for animation, for televised animation here in this country, and you can elevate it and get it closer to something like Young Justice, which is more of an adult thing now than it is a kid thing. Like, it's still okay for kids, but it's more of a kind of sophisticated, more toward adult thing. But what you'd be doing is just appeasing those of us that grew up with it. It wouldn't really be for kids anymore, right? I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I can't really think of anything I'd like to see added to the DCAU.
No, it feels just pretty darn complete. Like I said, I wish that Green Lantern show had been actually in that continuity, because that did feel like it added quite a bit.
Oh man, I'd love a Green Lantern, John Stewart Green Lantern show.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That'd be so awesome.
I mean, the only thing I'd say that I'd like to see added to that continuity, if we were to go back and do it, like, you got to get me on board with this idea in the first place. But if we did it, there are some things that comics have added that would be cool to see in that aesthetic. You know, like, we never did the Lantern Spectrum because it didn't exist yet. Yeah. You know, there's things like that, which is part of why I'm saying I wish that show had been in that continuity, because Red Lanterns in DCAU and Anti-Monitor in DCAU, stuff like that. Of course, that actually does predate that stuff, but as far as I know, they didn't do anything with the Crisis characters.
I don't even think. Did they use the word Crisis in like a Justice League episode?
They may have, but I'm just saying I don't know if they ever did anything with the like made up characters for that story.
Oh, I know. Like, they never like.
I don't know if they ever did Monitor and Anti-Monitor. I don't know if they ever did anything with like Psychopirate, but I haven't watched all of Justice League, so maybe they did.
He's got a few other questions in a super chat. The first one is, do either of you have personal Batman headcanon? I think we kind of discussed that bit. We've talked about this before. I mean, there's we each have like the version of the character that we most prefer. I always resist the basic idea of headcanon, like, just the stuff that I choose to decide counts. Like, I don't tend to care for that. But we'd have to talk specifics. Like, you'd have to give me a specific like character idea or something. But just in general, I don't really know how to answer that. And his next question is, what 3 villains would you like to see in a Batman film?
Okay, so I guess he's not saying characters that have never been done before. So I mean, like, there's obviously
sorry, he said what 3 beyond villains would you like to be?
Beyond villains. Shriek. I don't know if I would want to see Ink, because I don't know if you can make the CG look good enough. Same reason I don't know if I want Clayface.
Yeah.
You just end up with kind of a Sandman kind of thing again, which like looked fine, I guess, but You know,
Yeah.
you don't want it to be spectacle over story. Not that it would have to be necessarily, but I don't know. I'm leery of like big special effects villains sometimes, but you know, could be cool. I don't know. And then like obviously, you know, in a lot of ways, his arch nemesis is Blight. So like, I guess you got to have that at some point.
Yeah, and that's the easier one to do as kind of like a linchpin for all the other villains. You got Blight, and he's kind of like in the show. He's like contracting out to a Shriek or an Ink. But yeah.
So Baloo the Bear says, "What about the red guy with the eyeball? Yeah, he'd be cool."
Oh, I'm blanking on the name.
Spellbinder.
Spellbinder, yeah.
Spellbinder. Yeah, he'd be great.
All right. Random reviewer asks, what are your thoughts on the Batman Telltale games?
I have reviewed both of them, so you can go see my more in-depth thoughts. I like them a lot. I want to play through them again and see what some of the other endings and different story threads are like with those. I think they're really good reinventions, and in some ways, like they're super adult Batman stories. I think in some ways it's like even another Earth One. Like it could have been what Jeff Johns did for Earth One. Those games do really bold things with characters that I would think that I wouldn't like spoilers for this, but like the Waynes being involved in organized crime and stuff like that I think it handles relatively maturely, and I end up being on board with, and I'm surprised by. I like a lot of their new takes on villains. Their Joker is absolutely fascinating and really fun. He's a really funny Joker, but he's also really sympathetic in a way the Joker has never been before.
I love their Harley.
Their Harley is fantastic. Yeah, definitely one of the best versions of that character. I didn't know you played him.
Yes, I love them. And sticking on the Telltale game topic, William Parcell has a super chat. And excuse me, not William Parcell. Let me scroll down to it. Vampire Diaries. Did you ever go back and play through the villainous path for the Joker?
I have not. I'm going to relatively soon because Malik has just asked me to do that as a request for Omnibus. So in the next couple Omnibuy, I should be doing that. I've got to carve out the time to do it. All right. What else?
All right. William Parcell asks, do you prefer Batman to have a no-kill rule?
Yeah, I mean, again, like what sets him apart from other straight-up vigilantes if he's just running around murdering people? I think it's going too far to have a Batman that just completely loses his mind if somebody accidentally dies on his watch. Because with what he does, as dangerous as it is, Danny, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, like there's some, especially when we get to like the more physical Batman, there's Batman interpretations. There's no way you can tell me that like someone didn't die from like internal bleeding from like a stiff punch.
Yeah.
Or like they got a concussion, boom, they're dead.
Yeah, or just, if you fight people in high places, they're gonna fall off roofs every now and again. It's gonna happen. But yeah, people are just not as fragile in comic books as they are in real life. I've always been bugged by the Batman who goes on 35,000 adventures and just gets lucky that nobody he punches or kicks or something ever dies. Like it just never happens, because if it did, he would go he would go nuts. He would lose himself. And I don't know why we don't tell that story more often. We're like, yeah, Batman, you were technically responsible for that person's death, but you didn't murder them. They died. Like, you could accidentally kill someone on the basketball court. It's possible. It doesn't make you a murderer.
Where's the like cutoff point? Like, if he's beating up one specific criminal for a long time, like, I don't know, like a Clock King. Let's just use Clock King. He like beats him up multiple times, sends him to jail, and like at the age of 60, he's got like CTE from all the brain damage, and he dies as a result of like all that, brain damage. Gets some like life-threatening disease from CTE. I don't know the full like concussion science, but does that count as Batman killing that guy, or like is there a time cutoff? Because like, nope, 20 years passed, so it doesn't count as me killing you. Like,
yeah. Good Old Gamer says, didn't Batman carry guns at first? Yeah, he did. And in my mind, he's not quite Batman yet. Like, because he was based so hard on the Shadow like he had the guns like the Shadow has guns. Like he's got to be set apart in some way before before he's really his own character. And I think and like that first Batman comic's great, but like I think we needed to get to that point. I think Batman psychology is way more interesting when you get to the no guns thing, because you have to find other ways for him to dispatch the criminals. And again, it sets him apart from everybody else that does that.
Bag Studios asks, what caused Batcap to be put on hold, if you can say?
Oh goodness, I have talked about this before, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. There are a million reasons. That is, I know I've said this a bunch of times, and it's been so many months now. It's a thing I really want to get back to, if at all possible. But if I do, I'm going to have to restructure it. It's going to have to be a different thing. Let me give you the main big reasons. First of all, there didn't seem to be as much interest in it as I was hoping there would be, and I had to put off other things that people cared more about in order to do it. And I hate to shut down my own creative endeavors because of things people would rather me do. Like, I wouldn't do that if it was stuff I didn't want to do, but like, I didn't want to be in another Spawn Year situation where I'm pretty much only making that as far as written content goes, and people want Rewind and other stuff, and I'm just not doing it. It being Batman, it being Nightfall, I thought that show would perform a little bit better than it was, and there just didn't seem to be a ton of interest in it. The people that loved it are very upset that it's gone. And so I hate that. And I want to review Nightfall in some capacity, and I want to really take my time with it because it's complicated and it's good and there's a lot to say. So I really want to do the at least arc by arc, if not issue by issue thing with it, if at all possible. The story thing gets a lot harder for a lot of reasons. One of them is because we've had to take so much time off from it. My kids look older now, and that show was supposed to be set in like 2016 just doesn't work anymore. I've also restructured the Batcave and the rooms back here that we were using too much. Like, I'd have to redress the sets, and it's complicated. So yeah, I want to do something with that suit. I want to with the Nightfall suit that I had made. I want to review that the way I was reviewing it as much as possible. I've considered restarting it and doing a like off the cuff vault thing with it and doing Nightfall page by page, like by myself. That's the thing I've considered doing. I've considered just writing the rest of the reviews, but not doing the story thing. Danny, I love doing that story stuff. I wish there was a way to get back to it because I had really cool plans for that.
As someone who was watching it, I really enjoyed it.
I know, and I feel awful about it. We made 4 episodes, and it is not a thing I wanted to shut down. But I really don't see it ever happening the way it was happening. And then the other thing is there was a show. I was going to turn that into a trilogy of shows, and I was building toward another show that will never happen now. And so if I finished the story, or if I started the story over again, I would have to restructure it. It would have a different ending. And I had a really cool ending, and I hate that we're not going to do that now. So anyway, it's complicated, but that's what's going on with that.
All right. William Parcell asks, how manipulative do you think Batman should be? Some write it to where he's basically a horrible person who just uses people.
And that is partly, I want to say, Danny, because of, again, the Shadow influences.
Yeah.
Because, the Shadow had his, like, network of people that he saved, and then they owed him his life, and then he used them. And Batman doesn't do that, but anytime you get in bed with Batman, it's his way or the highway. And I think that is an inescapable, unavoidable part of Batman to some degree if you're going to write him believably, because with as skilled as he is at what he does, and again, I don't want him to be able to do everything, as skilled as, like, I don't need Batman to slice, dice, and make julienne fries, but as skilled as Batman is at the things that he should be good at, and the way he's trying to create the world that he wants for himself as much as everybody else, I don't see how that guy isn't narcissistic to some degree. And I've always seen Batman is kind of in denial about that to some degree. Like, I think Batman kind of has to be a little bit manipulative, but like doesn't want to believe that he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you have to have that, but I think you always have to have consequences for it.
Yeah, if the writer knows that's what's going on and is using it as like a character flaw of Batman, maybe even if it's not like the focal point of the story, it's an important part of his character, I think.
I also always find it interesting to see Batman have to deal with the fact that the world revolves around him. That almost like meta thing of the character is so popular that we build that into the stories themselves. Like Gotham, I always talk about with 66 Batman, the culture of dependence. You have that in more serious Batman things as well, where it's not even necessarily that the police department is incompetent and that without Batman everything would fall apart because of that. But you have a Batman, but you have a world in Gotham that because Batman has inserted himself in the foundation, in the operations of it, and because he has dared to go up against the corruption the way he has, and he fights criminals the way he does, you do get to a point where the world would kind of fall apart if Batman wasn't there anymore, where like he does accidentally create this culture that revolves around him. That's a part of Batman I think is interesting. And I think you can go both ways. I think you can do the Batman that creates Gotham and the Gotham that creates Batman, but either way, it does. I mean, I like the former better, but either way, you do tend to end up with a world that revolves around him.
Yeah. Malik, I just completely almost butchered your last name. Malik Myers says, I don't know if you'll have this going back to the first Telltale game, but for me, Laura Bailey is the best voice actress we've ever had for Catwoman.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. She's really good.
And Tyler Parker says, on a story level, I think, sticking with Telltale games, I think Telltale games are just as good as the Arkham games. Would you agree with that?
I don't know yet. I mean, I haven't quite spent enough time with them. Certainly more than certainly they're better than the last one on a story level. Like, I don't know. For me personally, I don't know that you get better than Arkham City, but I also wrote a 55-minute review on that movie. Like I've really spent some time like sinking my teeth into that narratively, and I don't like to make big statements like that until I have lived with a story as a writer. Because, as I always say, like I never fully know what I think of something until I've written about
it. David Crabtree says, first off, nice place you got there. Lots of space.
lots of space. That's an idiot.
Yeah. Second, we need to open a few more cases of the champagne. Will that be all right?
What do you think? 6? About 6?
Yeah, 6 is good.
Danny, somebody mentioned that it is the 30th anniversary of '89 and wondered if we had noticed that. And all I'll say is, yes, we have. Danny and I have definitely noticed that is the 30th anniversary of '89 Batman. And if that sounds like a hint, it's because it is. Danny, I don't know when it's going to happen yet.
I don't either, but I'm excited for it.
But there is a thing that we got cooking, and we're close. That's all I'll say, though. We're close. What do you think? March, hopefully?
March Madness, yes.
You want to say that? I mean, like we've been saying the next couple of weeks we're going to get together and finish it. So
yeah. I think March is a good time.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're aware. We're quite aware. hey, Danny, you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
I'm thinking about, I thought the best way to celebrate Batman '89 for me in my own house is just to put like stale popcorn in random places.
So you're not gonna get up and go downstairs and eat cereal.
Kiss someone goodbye, like a normal person. No.
Oh.
Danny, how many more? By the way, we could do this all day long. Danny, how many more super chats do we have? We are out of time.
5 more.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's try to breeze through them if we can. Just want to let everybody know that we are going to have Morphomania after this. If we go kind of late, we'll have to start Morphomania a little bit late because it's already 9:15 here, and super chats are pouring in. I want to thank everybody for popping in on the live Batman show tonight. Hope you're having a good time. We certainly are. We're going to try to finish this up as soon as we can. So, Danny, rapid fire, sir. Let's go. And you know what's going to happen? One of these is going to be like the deepest, most thought-provoking question of the night, right? That always happens. But I'm not, I don't know.
Now that you've said that, people are going to think about those questions and then add it into the super chat now.
Yeah, and then I'm going to feel like I'm taking a blue book test or something. All right, good.
Flame asks, any favorite Golden Age Batman stories?
Oh boy, you know, I've really not sat down and read really any Golden Age except for like the first issue, and there's a Joker story or two, but nothing immediately jumps to mind. Like I've read some of the Riddler stuff, but I wouldn't say any of it is great.
Yeah, and I don't think I've read anything other than Detective 27.
Yeah, like Man Who Laughs, but I haven't really read anything else. So I need to do that. I mean, I found some things, you know, here and there in trades when I was a kid, but like nothing I can really speak to right now.
Andrew Follett says, what are your favorite skins in the Arkham games?
I like, let me think. Because I haven't played those in a while, and I haven't played with skins in a while. I played with the 89 suit a lot in Arkham Knight. The Earth 1 skin I looked at, but I didn't really play with it much. I think there's an Earth 1 skin. See, now I'm sitting here like, am I even thinking of the right things? Like are these skins? I think that happened.
I think.
The 66 Batsuit, obviously I played with some, and I played with the 89 Batmobile skin constantly.
Yeah.
In the race courses.
I was always partial to the Dark Knight Returns skin from City.
It's fun.
Not the one in Night because it looks awful, but the one in City is really good.
I don't know why they didn't just port it over if it was that good.
I don't know why they did what they did with the Beyond suit in Night, but it's stupid. It's so ugly.
No, I don't like it at all. By the way, side note, the race courses are awesome, and they need to make that a whole game.
Yeah.
Seriously. People complain about the Batmobile in that game, and in the story mode, it is tedious, but it is fun to drive when that's the game. Like all those Riddler courses where they make it puzzly, it's really fun. And that should have been a whole game, and they should have made a multiplayer, and they should have made it a racing game.
That would have been awesome.
Would have been awesome.
Grady Child says, I bought a Wii U today for $120 along with Arkham Origins. I heard you're doing Arkham Knight this year. I don't blame you for skipping Origins.
Okay, so I want to do Arkham Knight this year. I'm not promising anything, guys. I had hoped to have another Rewind out by now, and I have been busy with other things life-wise. I've been really desperately needing to give my comic collection some attention and get all of that cataloged and stuff, and for a couple of reasons that needed to happen sooner rather than later. I'm back to reselling again. I really need to know what exactly I have when I'm ordering things and when I'm out in the wild and stuff. So anyway, I hope everybody understands, but that has had to take precedent the last couple of weeks. But to answer your question, I want to get to Night. Night is more important than Origins. That is not a game I feel the need to necessarily sit down and do a whole narrative analysis on. I'm not saying I'll never do it, but because it narratively, like chronologically, isn't the next game, I think you can do that anytime. So yeah, I just think more people will care about Night. So yeah, I'm not reviewing those in chronological order necessarily. I mean, if Origins didn't exist, obviously I would be doing them in chronological order, but I'm just saying, when the games come out, I don't feel the need to do the prequel before I do that next game. So I don't think it really informs Night at all.
David Crabtree says, Joker's best when having Batman jump through hoops.
Yep, that's a reference to a story I wrote for him that he's illustrating. That's why he wrote that. Okay, what else do we have as far as super chats go?
Marie Flowers says, "Is Snyder's Rebirth All-Star worth buying on sale?"
It's worth buying on sale if you're gonna buy it. Definitely don't pay full price for it. I don't think it's necessarily worth buying at all. I didn't like what I read of it. I was always annoyed at the price tag of that, especially because I didn't like it. But
is that the $4.99 book?
Yes, for no reason, and it's not good. Like, I know I harp on that every time that comes up, but it's so dumb that it wasn't oversized or anything, and they charged an extra $1 for it, and then I didn't like it either. But yeah, that was Snyder at the worst of his game, and then immediately after that, he brought us one of the best DC events ever made in metal. So he has completely redeemed himself in my eyes, and I love what he's doing now. I read it. I haven't kept up with it, but I read his first issue on Justice League and liked it quite a bit, and that was in the same vein as metal. And also really, really funny. He's got great comedic sensibilities with that book. So at least with that first issue, maybe it falls down from there. But I like what I read of it. Anyway, okay, how many more super chats do we have? We've got to get them knocked out.
3 more, and one's not even a question. Jeffrey Patron says, 89 infinitum.
You can answer the next one. Okay, I'm done. I'm tired. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Jeffrey Patron says 89 infinitum.
Look, we're not seeing anything. Okay. We teased you guys about the film Batman 89, and that's all you're getting. But there is something. There is something in a box ready to come out and punch you in the face. That is all I'm going to say. Anyway, what else?
Grady Child says, "What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl ads for Endgame and Toy Story 4?
Okay, so thanks for the super chat. I'm sorry about this, but A, not doing anything that's not Batman tonight, and B, I have actually not seen those yet. I didn't look at the Super Bowl. I didn't look at anything after the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, guys. I have not looked at those yet. So like I said, I've been busy with cataloging and stuff. It's all I've done today. Is I feel like I'm back into retail. Like, all I did today was scan comics. I have a great app that allows me to scan barcodes directly into my my comic collecting app, and that's all I did today. I just was I was watching stuff, but I was just scan bugs.
All right, Mr. Roboto says, "I heard Gotham TV did not have the rights to use the Joker."
What, the TV show Gotham?
Yeah, Gotham.
Well, it's amazing that they were able to do everything around it then, because Joker Kid's just Joker.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, what? I guess I don't even know what exactly that entails. You just can't say Joker because they did everything else. Okay. First I've heard of that.
The Clown Prince of misdemeanors, you know.
That's really funny. You know what? If they had to genericify like everything talking about the Joker like that, it would have been worth it.
The clowner. Just
you ever
purple hair and a green suit.
You ever dance with an angel in the pit? What does that even mean? What?
You ever dance? You ever two-stepped with an angel?
Yeah, I did not know about that.
I didn't either. All right, that is the end of the super chats.
Is it really? That's amazing. All right. Well, there we go. Thanks everybody for joining us for Batman Night. Hope you enjoyed it. Danny, I was telling Danny this before the show started. I was concerned about doing another Batman theme show because I was like, haven't we said everything there is to say about this character? Like we've done one or two of these before, and obviously I talk about Batman all the time, and my whole basement's Batman, and I just, it's Batman a lot on this channel. And I heard a bunch of questions I've never heard before this evening. I'm really impressed by that. And I'm sure there were a bunch we didn't even get to that were great in that 3.5 pages, which I'm sure we didn't even get to the first page. So what I'm saying is this seems very viable and worth doing again down the road. So I was thinking about doing a Batman theme show once a year. We might do it more like every few months, Danny.
I'm down for that.
I think there's every reason to do that. So anyway, sorry if we didn't get to your question tonight, folks, but thanks a bunch for being here with us, and thanks to everybody who did pre-written questions and super chats. And Danny, save those for the next Batman theme show. In fact, are there a lot of good questions left?
Yeah, there's quite a few just from the pre-written ones that I didn't even get to like fully glance over, but there were a lot. How
do you feel about a part 2?
I say we do it.
I think that's a good
Captain
idea.
Logan show, Batman Knight returns.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got so many good questions left. Let's do a part 2 next week. I don't think there's any reason not to.
Right. You're saved.
Baloo says, I think we're meant to do this forever. Thanks a lot for being here, folks. We sure appreciate it. Danny and I will see you again next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Central Time for more Batman talk. This is not forevermore going to be the Batman Q&A show, but we will do another one for you next week, and we will do these ever so often. And then coming up here on the channel in about 10 or 15 minutes is Morphomania. So if you want to watch the Power Rangers with me and DJ, stick around for that. We're going to be a little bit later than usual because we're going so late here. But anyway, we sure appreciate everybody being here with us and hope you enjoyed it. We will see you again next week. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Danny.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.